Hello everyone! Today I'm going to teach you how to create clay or a salt dough flour. I am going to place this flour on my prayer table next to my statue of Mary. I was hoping that it would look like a rose. It looks a little bit more, maybe like, I think it actually looks pretty much like a rose. So if you'd like to learn and create along with me a salt dough flour for the month of May to honor our Mother Mary, then keep on watching. So to make this small batch of salt dough, it's so fun to play with. I'm excited to teach you. You're going to need a 1/4 cup of salt, a 1/4 cup of water, and a 1/2 cup of flour. The first thing that you will do is mix together the 1/4 cup of salt and the 1/2 cup of flour. Once that is mixed together, you will slowly add your 1/4 cup of water. And once it forms together, once you are stirring it with a spoon and it's all forming one clump, you can take it out and start kneading it in your hands. We know that when we say we are kneading something, we are pressing it together, pulling it apart, pressing it together again until it's not sticky. It doesn't come off on your hands, but it's still sticking together. If it starts to crack apart and become brittle, you can get a little bit of water and smooth out the cracks. I think we may have done that in class before together when we're working with clay. So once we have our salt dough, we are going to make the flour. To make the flour, I am going to use food coloring to dye our clay different colors. I think I'm going to make a rose, so I'm going to use red for my petals, I'm going to use yellow for the center, and I'm going to use green for the leaves. So first I'm going to take a small piece of my salt dough, and I'm going to add, let's start with 1 drop of yellow. Let's do 2. And I'm going to try to carefully knead this into my salt dough and try to dye it yellow. So I'm going to squish it all together. The food coloring might dye your hands. So I would maybe use gloves if you have them, plastic gloves. It's also going to make it kind of sticky. Rub it between the hands. Ah, yes. Okay, this is a really pretty color. So this way, instead of having to paint it at the end, it will already be colored once it dries. So here's my yellow. It's definitely yellow. This is what we started with. So I'm going to mix up my green and my red, and then we will be ready to get started here. Okay, now I have my 3 colors. I have my green, my yellow, and my red. Came out more of a pink, but it's quite all right. What I noticed when I added the liquid food coloring is that it made my clay very sticky. But this is good, it means it will help our flour form together and become a good solid sculpture. What I think I want to do, make sure you have some kind of plastic tray or a plate that you're working on. First, I'm going to want to create a base, and I think I'll do that with my green. I'm going to make some leaves and lay them out so that I can build my flower on top of that. I think I'm going to make 2 leaves to start with. So first I'm going to roll 1 piece of my green into a sphere, and then I want to start to shape it into more of a teardrop shape. A teardrop shape. And then I will press it down so that it is more flat, like a leaf. And I can even work with it on my plate, my plastic tray. Okay, so let me show you what that looks like. Get all my other clay pieces out of the way. Man, it's very sticky. So there's my one leaf. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. Let's see what happens if I maybe roll it into a log shape, and that looks pretty good, like a leaf. I'm going to lay it down kind of next to my other leaf, not too close. I'm going to smush it down. Now I have two leaves. Next, let's see, what should we do next? We're kind of working from the bottom up. I think I'm going to do my petals next. So for that, I'm going to grab a little piece of my pink or my red. Do the same thing that we did with the leaves. So I'm going to form it into a circle, a sphere, and then roll it back and forth to make a log shape. And then I'm going to lay it down. And I want to make sure that I'm overlapping. So this one I'm putting kind of in between those leaves, pressing it down so that everything is sticking together. The next one I do, I'm going to, again, roll a sphere and then roll a log. And I'll show you where I'm going to place this one. I'm going to overlap it right there. Oh, it's very sticky. This is good. I want it to be sticky. And how the leaves are smaller at the edge, the petals we want to be more rounded and larger. So I might even kind of make that one a little larger. See what we can do here. Make that one a little larger. Okay, I'm going to put a couple more petals on there, and then we will work on the center. Let's see. I think this is going to look really nice when it's all finished. This clay is really getting sticky, which is probably okay. All right. I'm looking at a couple more. Now this is what I have. Doesn't really look like a flower yet, so let's see what we can do to fix that. Okay. I'm going to start building this up so it's a little more three-dimensional. So it's not so flat on the page or on the plate. Show you what I mean by that in just a minute. Okay, see how it's starting to build off the plate? I have 6 petals on there. I'm going to add 2 more, I think. Flowers like to be a nice even number of petals. I'll make sure I'm smoothing out any cracks that I see. Don't want this to be a lumpy flower. I want it to be nice and smooth. All right. So now that I have all of my petals on there, it's really nice. Let's see. Yeah, really cool. Give you a 360 view. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my yellow last. I'm going to see if I can make really tiny spheres and stick them in there. These are going to be my little details. You could even make little bugs and add those in. And ladybugs or little ants crawling around on your flower, make it look a little more realistic, like it's in a garden. Okay, I think I like that with 3 little center pieces. Let me show you. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to let this dry for a couple of hours outside in the Arizona heat, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. I have been letting my flower dry for 2 days now, and it still is not dry. So what I'm going to show you right here, this is the bottom, and it's still wet. The top is very hard, but the inside, it's not drying fully. And the reason for this is because I made it too thick. So there's too much clay. It's not going to dry properly. But what I'm going to try to do is to bake it like we would with clay in the clay oven called a kiln. I'm going to bake it in my oven for, I'm going to bake it on 250 degrees, so a very low temperature for an oven. And I'm going to put it in there for between 30 minutes and an hour. I will come back and let you know how that went and if it helped to dry out my clay piece a little bit more. All right, I am back with my finished clay flour, my salt dough flour, and it was in the oven 250 degrees for 45 minutes, and now it is fully dry, fully hardened. It is a little warm still, so I'm going to let it cool off on top of the oven for maybe another hour, and then it will be all set and ready to display on my prayer table next to my statue of Mary. I hope that you enjoyed this project, and I look forward to seeing what you have created.